If you think the question is whether you believe or not, you've already lost. God is actually on the next slide of this class project. And the slide is, are you doing what you need to do? And have you made the final decision about if you're going or staying? And in fact, while I'm going, I will just keep going in this vein, because what I was seeing is these pictures that you can find online of long lines of people walking to whichever border they could find in Sierra Leone, and whichever border was closest to them. People trekked across their whole nation on foot. And as I was seeing that, I instantly knew that you that does this, but Celestial, where will we go? What will we do? I can't leave California. I don't have any money. That group of people are going to learn that life is so precious that when you hear gunfire 5 streets away, you will find out magically that you can walk. Magically. You will find out that the pressure you don't feel now, the pressure you feel now is a mental pressure and an emotional pressure. It's a mental pressure of what can I do? And it's an emotional pressure of I don't have enough. God knows who has enough and who doesn't. And what was said to me to say to you is that if you are someone of foreign descent and you make a decent living and you're still sitting here, you are not a thinking person. The first nationality that came to me, first nationality that was put in my head, and I don't even think that any other nationality was put in my head, not French, not British. The strong nationality that was put in my mind is Filipino. I don't even know if there's a strong Filipino presence here in America, but that's who was put in my head, Filipino. God was saying that if you are anyone who has a country to go to and you're doing Willy Wonka, wait and see, you're not a person who's wise. Because he said, if you have means to relocate, you have money to relocate. That literally means get on the plane, go and do an exploration. You're sitting here as a Korean and you're flying to Korea to go and laminate your brows and make your already straight nose a little straighter, just so you can come back and do content. Get ready with me. I went to Korea to pluck my eyebrows and then they poked my face and I'm 25 and now I look 21. You're flying over there for toys and games, and God says you have a country to go to, and you hear that a slasher Mad Max Civil War is coming, but then you're doing get ready with me. He was putting it into my heart that there's very little wisdom in the collective American population. People of means who can relocate when there's time on their side and no gun at their back, who do not do so. You're very strange indeed, because you are actually 3 rolls of the dice behind. Do I believe this? Do I not believe this? And God is already in the front, focusing on when the gates finally lock, when they finally close the border, when they're finally finished expelling all the people that I have been saying here since 2022, foreigners. God says he has no quarrel with you. He has no quarrel with you. It is not his desire to see you shed your blood in this war that is coming. This war is a punishment for Americans and their sin, their historical sin of shedding blood that they refuse to repent for, and in fact are getting ready to shed the blood again. I have finally understood that this is what the mass slavery prophecies that I've been carrying since 2019 are about. They are about the hard-hearted seed that is only now birthing itself in front of everyone. That not only are we not sorry for slavery, but thank God we have President Trump, because now we can do it again. Now we can bring the old laws back. Now we can get them on the plantation. They're already starting to decorate the trees of America with black bodies, and every single case has been ruled a suicide on the same day the body has been discovered. The day the body is discovered is the day the sheriff says, I see nothing wrong here. It was a suicide, obviously. He must have been a depressed fella. Every single one. We're up to 5 of them, and every single one has been ruled self-inflicted harm. But I have said here that no matter how depressed a black person in this country gets, hanging is not the usual method by which lives are taken, and definitely not outside on a tree. That's an absolute instant no-no. The triggering alone, when the first rope is thrown up, the guy would run away sobbing, like, what is wrong with me? The triggering of what happened in the past, God has told me and I've shared here, is bone deep, DNA deep. You can only get a black man on a tree, a black woman on a tree, if they're already concussed, dead, or in the center of a mob that knows it's not going to be disturbed because the whole town is in attendance. But these things are already happening. And so if you have the means to leave and your 3 dice rolls back like, oh, do I believe this? This is very upsetting. This is very upsetting. Then you are not thinking wisely, and you need to be told that, because the game you're playing, remember, no matter what game you play, when you hear these messages, no matter what game you play, unless you play the right one, you've already lost. The game you're playing is, can I wing it? That's what you're thinking. You're literally asking yourself insane questions like, how bad could a war get? Could I last out the 3 years? I really don't want to sell my boat. These are the rich people thoughts that you're thinking, and I will politely leave you to them. I cannot speak to the middle class in America because as where we start, I don't know if we still have one. It's just the super millionaires, the people just below them that are doing okay, and then Struggle Nation. Straight drop to Struggle Nation. The one thing I do know that Yah was impressing upon my heart is that he was saying that it's unfortunate that instead of people who know that they have less, leaning to what is known, though it's not called that in the Bible, but leaning to what is known as desperate faith, they want to lean to the thing I just warned about in the beginning, like the man who was like, even if the windows of heaven opened, they want to lean to the faith of how. Well, Celestial, how will I do it? Celestial, how? I have these disabilities. Celestial, how? I have these children. I still have people doing that about the California prophecy. So basically, that wave that God said will stand up like a skyscraper, a wave so tall that it will actually cast a shadow on the water and on whatever part of the land it's standing up, it will be at the sight of that wave that you will abandon Celestial how, and then you will just realize, oh, I was throwing the dice the wrong way. It didn't actually matter how. I get it now. How was even if I walk out of California, as in literally pack a bag, put my kid in a wagon and start walking, trusting along the way, God, hey, it's me. I read in the Bible about Hagar, Abraham and Sarah put her out, and she literally just put her kid in a wagon and started dragging him out, and she was walking and she didn't have anything. She just had a skin of water and some bread, but she was walking crying at the way they'd used her. But you know what, Lord, the tears were coming down, but Hagar's 2 feet were getting out of Dodge. When that wave stands up, because it has been bothered, because the seawater has been bothered by a volcano blowing, and the volcano blew because the fault shifted. When those things happen, all the questions of how, and God knows I don't have any money, and what about me, all that stuff, it will all melt down to the crossing of the street, and you will realize that you are not faster than a sinkhole, earthquake, gas fire, electrical fire, vulcanized tsunami wave. And that will be the last thing that you think about before realizing that when Lot was told, this town burns tonight, burn with it or get out, Lot got out crying, with nothing, lost his wife in the confusion, but he got out. Many will learn. I've already brought the message that God said, many who will close their eyes in California are people who absolutely believe these prophecies. The question to life is this: nobody who believes prophecies and sits still can be counted as a person who believes God. Because when God told Abraham, leave everything, get going to a land that I will show you, he didn't say, wow, this is a wonderful encounter, I believe you, and sit still. He packed up and he got going. When the Lord spoke to Noah, remember God said, let's look at people in history. And the title of the prophecy is, what if you were warned? What if you were warned that a great flood was coming? Can you say that you believe the Lord and sit with no boat? Is it possible for your belief, which is your faith, to be evidenced without any works? Is it possible? James 2:18 says that it's not possible, because if you claim that you can show faith with absolutely no proof of what you have done to show that you had faith, that's why you got moving, working, building, doing something. James said, I will show you my faith, and you will be able to evidence my faith when you look at what I've done since I heard the word that I claim. I believed. God came to Noah, and the Bible says that Noah moved with holy fear, which means he moved into action and he started doing something. So that was one group of people. I'm just going to give this prophecy exactly as it was just pouring into my heart from the church, and I will carry on reading. And that's the part for those who have. And then he was making me to understand that there's always been a vast difference between the wealthy and the poor. I've been talking about this since I started the blog. I was using it in examples as simple as toilet tissue. And I was saying, you cannot sit there refusing to believe prophecy when you know you're also poor. Because that is like adding salt to a wound. You're poor, but then you also want to have the pride of unbelief, which is just a major shocker all around. Because what he was saying to me is this: the rich don't actually need faith to be saved. In the time of testing, in the time of a war, a rich person will go to the top of the penthouse, make a call, and get a helicopter to take them out. The Nepal government did that. The protesters were coming after them. They ran to the top of their tall buildings and they ran away. A rich person will be out of this country on a private jet before you can cough, before you can say civil war. A rich person is landing in Lisbon. All his money has been wired to Deutsche Bank, and he's divested some in whatever place he's going, and he's got the majority of it. He's making calls to Gustav in Switzerland. He's not thinking about you. God was showing me that wealth actually provides the salvation that people need. And now he's not talking about faith in Jesus Christ. Salvation literally means to be saved. A rich person can save themselves out of a civil war in no time. The rich person who doesn't feel like he wants to go and wing it in a foreign country will just go downstairs to his bunker. His bunker is stacked with 5 years of food. 5 years of food. He's a loner, no wife, no kids. He's got longevity. Without an earthquake, he'll be fine down there. God was showing me that rich people don't need to trust in him, because rich people are saved by money. And the Bible verse he gave me was Jesus himself speaking to the wealthy and telling them, make friends for yourself with filthy lucre. Make friends for yourself with filthy money. Making friends with yourself with filthy money is befriending a mercenary who can get you out of the country in no time. You can't afford a mercenary. I sure can't. Making friends is telling a guy, get us to Mexico. There's $100,000 for it, in it for you. $100,000. That man, whether he's a Mexican coyote, right? Or whether he's a retired American military vet who came home from Iraq, or came home from Afghanistan, or came home from Yemen or Syria, disillusioned, tired, broke, can't get a job, his back hurts him, his lower vertebra where he got shot, it hurts him. His wife is always nagging, and then she left him and took his only kid. He's just a lonely man. He's just on his war vet meds. PTSD, and you look at a man like that and you tell a man like that, a man with no ties to this world, his daughter's growing up and she hates him because she's full of the lies of her mother. Okay. You look at a man like that and you tell that man that you're going to make friends with him for an escape route for 100K. You mean the same 100K that your wife was always lipoing into her butt? Your wife is sitting on at least $1 million of your money in her chest and her backside and her mouth that is still as thin as a pencil. And this man is offering life-saving salvation for you and aforesaid wife for just the price of her left breast. That's how you make friends, using money. Money buys helicopter rides. Money buys mercenary U.S. government patented serial number guns, survey escorts to the Mexican border, to Cancun or wherever that man is supposed to deliver you. He will deliver you. You sit and you watch these rude movies like The Hitman's Wife Part 2, whatever it is that Ryan Reynolds is doing. That's not my business. But you watch these things. You look at trained members of the U.S. government for hire. You know that you don't have a potato or an orange to offer a man like that to get you, the children, and Fluffy across the border. Why are you playing games? God was putting it into my heart that you that are at the bottom, your prayer should be the hottest because you don't have anything. But you're wasting time in comment sections all over the internet. God bless Prophetess every time she drops a video. God was making it clear to me that the wealthy don't really need his salvation when it comes to being saved out of wars and out of global conflicts. They will literally airlift them. Does Bill Gates look like the kind of person that needs Jesus for him to get out of a country where he was part of the war that he started? Bill Gates, who will go and sit and wait it out in Italy when everybody's dead and nuked by the Federalist Union of these United States. Then he comes back because now the population's way down and they can finally get all that oil land that the farmers like, I'll never sell. It's my daddy's land. Yeah, but now you're all dead. Now the land is like, it would be a shame to let it lie fallow. They'll mix in your family's bones into the soil. Rich people, that's what they can do. Your very family that died on that land trying to protect it, Mr. Patriot, they will take all of you out and bury you in different parts of the field. And then they'll be like, now he's united with his daddy. And every time the tractor's rolling over your body, they'll be laughing that rich people laugh because they're amused by things that most people don't understand because most people are normal. You that has less, Yah was telling me that your prayers should be so hot that they should be like that blowtorchy thing that the welders are using. You know when the welder makes the flame so hot that it goes blue and white? That's how hot your prayer should be. That's how tight your prayer game should be, your fasting game should be. But you're wasting time. Well, what are we supposed to do? I guess God doesn't care about the poor. God is concerned about why you don't know nothing about the Bible. That's what he cares about. He's very concerned about how your Bible is like clearly glued together, that you can't find a single story of what the poor did when they lacked food, lacked protection, lacked a prophet, lacked a soldier. He's just stunned because he thought that he had covered everything, but apparently. So these are all the things, like I said. I can't really tell you what tonight's service was about because this was what my night's service was about, putting before the American people the fact that every gamble that you think you can gamble, you've already lost. It is my bounden duty to tell you that. God has said in these prophecies so many times, whatever you think you may need to withstand a civil war, triple it, quadruple it, exponential it, and then he said, add more. And it still won't be enough. He said that nobody's going to get through these end times without him. That means that the people in the streets are already fried. They're already fried. Unless they get in here, they're fried. So what that means is then you're the one who's being given the benefit. You're the one who's getting the mercy. You're the one who's getting the kindness. And if you're responding to that kindness with any, this is very wicked. This prophecy is very wicked. This prophecy is a lie. I don't think God said that. How can America have a war? If you're responding to these messages with any of that, you are in Las Vegas and you're blowing zeros. Like every time you throw the dice with any of that, you're just rolling zeros and your chips are just being raked in by the croupier.